الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما نافعا يا كريم. إن شاء الله we'll start if you can turn the project. Where is
the next slide?
Okay. Move to sleep. I see. Okay. So let's end this next segment, and inshallah I will open. I know you have lots of questions, so let me present something, and then inshallah we can go back to questions. Okay? Let me go on, build some background first, and then we're going to go back to the questions. Tarbiyah and its impact. What is, when we talk about tarbiyah, I want to bring one of the definitions of tarbiyah to you. So there are lots of definitions of tarbiyah. You all understand it. I want to as much in the Islamic way, as simple as that. But I want to take you into a more maybe accurate way of looking into the tarbiyah in terms of knowledge and how we build that. Here is a model for us in tarbiyah, a model that fits the youth. Because we want our children to be the top. Of course, definitely, another model is Yusuf alayhi salam. You ask any children in Houston Quran Academy, what is your model? They'll always say, first graders and up, always say, who's our model? Yusuf alayhi salam. They'll say Yusuf alayhi salam. Because he was a model that knowledge, youth, very young, and very educated, very wise. So he got lots of combinations, strength, beauty, everything is there. And is forgiving. And he was building a country that is not his, was building a country that does not believe in his religion. You see? So Yusuf alayhi salam was a good model for us. That's a very important analogy, and maybe we'll revisit with the model of Yusuf alayhi salam, and how we can use this model to teach our children, the good values of Islam. And here is another model, is Dhul Qarnayn. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنْ ذِي الْقَرْنَيْنِ قُلْ سَأَتْلُو عَلَيْكُمْ مِنْهُ ذِكْرًا إِنَّا مَكَّنَّا لَهُ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَآتَيْنَاهُ مِنْ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ سَبَبًا. As Allah said in Surah Al-Kahf, they ask about Dhul Qarnayn. Say, I will mention, I'll talk to you about him. He's a man that we gave him the power of everything. مَكَّنَّا لَهُ فِي الْأَرْضِ. We established him on earth. So what did he do with this establishment on earth? He used it to help others. The full belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With a full aqeedah, strong belief, strong knowledge, strong power, the all means of power. We're tied to strong aqeedah. He used it to help others, build the earth, spread goodness. That is the model that we want to have. That is what we want to have. What leaders? We want people who are knowledgeable. Want people who know what to do and how to do things. Engineers, doctors, physicians, whatever. In all areas. We want them to be very knowledgeable, powerful, and take the lead in leading the country and leading the people around them to do the best. That is the model that we have in Dhul Qarnayn. فَأَتْبَعَ سَبَبًا. After we gave him all the stuff, he followed the track that we set. That is what it said. Follow that track. So we want our children to follow that track of implementing the knowledge and translating it into action. We want them to bring harmony to themselves and live in harmony and peace with others. So bring that harmony to your life. Alhamdulillah, I'm pleased. Alhamdulillah, I'm happy. Alhamdulillah, I'm satisfied. Very important. And at the same time, live in harmony and peace with others. I don't want to hurt anyone. Yusuf gets hurt, forgives. Muhammad gets hurt, forgive. Go, you are all set free. Said to the people of Mecca, after all what they did for him, go, you're free. I say nothing to you but what Yusuf alayhi salam said to his brothers. لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم. No blame on you. Allah forgives you. Today Allah is more forgiving for you. That's what Yusuf alayhi salam said. So you want to live in that harmony with other people, live in that peace and harmony within yourself and within others. And realize that your life on earth is very short compared to the other lives that will come. And we have life in the grave. We call it in the Arabic or the Islamic terminology, Hayatul Barzakh, the life in the grave. The Prophet ﷺ called it Haya. Haya meaning life. It's a different kind of life. People feel things in the grave. Allah said in Surah Ghafir, النار يعرضون عليها, about the people of the fear, غدوا وعشيا ويوم تقوم الساعة أدخلوا آل فرعون أشد العذاب. Day and night, the people of the Pharaoh who were doing wrong to Bani Israel and to Musa, they exposed to hell day and night. And in the day of judgment, as the verse says, وَيَوْمَ تَقُومُ السَّاعَةِ, entered them into hell. So this is before hell, before the day of judgment, they exposed, meaning in the life of in the grave, they exposed every day to the hell, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. Similarly, the believers exposed to Jannah. And then in the day of judgment, they enter hell. So you have day of judgment, and then you have life in paradise, inshallah, for all of us and for our children. And so that short, our life here is very short. And the rest is very long and lasting, inshallah, in Jannah. So that's important to take into mind. So if I want to live in harmony with then the model that we presented earlier, I got to take this into consideration. And I got to have that vision transferred into the knowledge and the mentality and the brain and the schemas of my child. This model has to be there in my child's mind in a way or another. And then it should affect how I do things and how I value things. So my value here is much more towards life in paradise than on earth. So my value and the way I value things on earth, should really consider what leads me to Jannah, inshallah. Always there. So how would I translate this into action? Would it be translated into action if the word Jannah is not mentioned, is not in the vocabulary of my child? My child is 5 years old and maybe he doesn't use the term Jannah. I don't use the term Jannah with my child. Then it doesn't exist. So you're going to have constant reminder. And it won't transfer into becomes part of the brain unless you repeat it 17 times, 20 times, 40 times, 100 times. But if it's 3 or 4 times, it's going to be forgotten. It's going to be, you hammer it constantly and you use it in your reward vocabulary with your child. Inshallah, Allah gets you to Jannah. Inshallah, you want to be in Jannah? Well, let's inshallah. Work hard. We'll all go to Jannah. You use it. If you don't use it, it's not going to be part of the child's vocabulary. So you want to use certain terms. And the term Jannah is a very important term to use in your communication with your children. And definitely that goal is also going to affect, if we want to be in Jannah, then we're going to be on ta'ah or doing the good and avoid the ma'asiyah or the evil. That's a very important. And I got to keep my heart inclined towards doing the good that we have over here, avoiding that. And remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us that Allah sometimes comes between you and your heart. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَقُولُ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَقَلْبِهِ وَأَنَّهُ إِلَيْهِ تُحْشَرُونَ. So that knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always in my mind as a parent, as a father or a mother. And the saying of Allah, رَبَّنَا لَا تُزِغْ قُلُوبَنَا بَعْدَ إِذْ هَدَيْتَنَا وَهَبَ لَنَا مِن لَّدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً. Oh Allah, do not turn our hearts away from you and give us rahmah from you. Should be in my mind as a parent. Should always make the dua. And I should make the dua of the Prophet ﷺ, Allahumma ya muthabbit al-qulub, thabbit qulubana ala dinik. O you the one who supports the heart, support our hearts on your deen. Allahumma ya musarrif al-qulub, sarrif qulubana ila ta'atik. O you the one who turns the hearts, turn our hearts to your ta'at, to obeying you, following you. Yes, these things are important, and as I will explain later, your salah, your goodness as a parent, is very important and a prerequisite to the success of your children, as we will indicate from the Quran, inshallah. And look into how you want. You remember the model of Dhul Qarnayn? The Prophet ﷺ says to us here in a hadith that if you see the signs of the hour, إن قامت الساعة وفي يد أحدكم فسيلة فإن استطاع ألا تقوم حتى يغرسها فليغرسها. And another story, فإن له في ذلك أجر. You have a reward for that, or she has a reward for that. So if you're holding a palm tree in your hand and you see the signs of the hour, go ahead and plant it. What's the significance of that? Can somebody help me? Until the last minute. Very good. Good deeds should be done till the last minute. What else? What other comment can we make? It can help other people. See, definitely it helps other people. But there's something here in this hadith that is very significant. Yes. Why is it? I keep working here. What's good? This is a very good point. Yes. Do it now. Very good. What else can we say? Yeah, your hasanat can go after you die. Yes. Leave the ends to Allah. Take the means. It's a very good point. Yes. Finish it. And one more thing I add to you. What's going to happen when the day of judgment is going to come? When you plant the tree, what's going to happen to that tree? Destroy it, right? So what benefit is going to do to, after 1 minute I'm going to throw it away. يَوْمَ تُبَدَّلُ الْأَرْضُ غَيْرَ الْأَرْضِ وَالسَّمَاوَاتُ. When that whole system will collapse. وَحُمِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ وَالْجِبَالُ فَدُكَّتَا دَكَّةً وَاحِدَةً. The earth and the mountains are carried and destroyed. So what benefit? I know it's going to be destroyed. What benefit would it do if I plant a tree? You see the point here? Yes.
Depending on the age of 17 you may never see that tree growing in the mountain.
Exactly. But yet you plant it.
You may never see the fruits in this life.
Exactly. Even though you are old and you're not going to see the fruits, go ahead and plant it. It's exactly the meaning. Yes, brother, no.
The good deeds should not be dependent on the results.
Exactly. Very good point. Very good conclusion. The good deeds should not independent of the results. And that's a verse actually. Allah says to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, فَإِمَّا نُرِيَنَّكَ مَا نَعِدُهُمْ فَإِمَّا نَتَوَفَّيَنَّكَ أَوْ نُرِيَنَّكَ مَا نَعِدُهُم فَإِنَّمَا عَلَيْكَ الْبَلَاغُ وَعَلَيْنَا الْحِسَابُ. Whether we let you die or let you see the fruits, it's none of your business. Your business is to do the work and leave the results to us. I'm giving the conclusion, not the exact translation of the verse. So that's a very important concept for us. Your work, emphasis here is in production, do work, construction. And that's a very important message that I should keep our children in mind. They sit idling, do nothing for hours. Children are expert wasting time. Ask me. I have 5 of them. They can sit for hours, do nothing. So when we use discipline and you say, oh, please sit here. Of course, that's my enjoyment. I can sit for hours. You're rewarding me. Sit here, do nothing. So that's a reward for me. I can sit for 2 days, do nothing. You see? So you really wanna plant in their hearts that you really gotta produce, you gotta do something. As a Muslim, always be productive, find ways, find things to do. It's a very important element that we learn from this hadith and our philosophy that drives our actions. Remember, the goal is to come up with a definition of tarbiyah here based on what we say. Also here you have what we call ma'lumat, ma'rifah and ilm, information, knowledge and ilm. And in Islam, information is information, like you have any information on the internet, for example, or in books. You want to translate the information into knowledge. When would that happen? When is a piece of information translated into knowledge? When are you going to apply it? When are you going to learn it? Apply it, then start use it. Once you start using, as Brother Yasser said, once you start using the information, then you turn it into knowledge. But when would knowledge transferred into ilm? Is there a difference between knowledge and ilm in Islam, or ma'rifah and ilm in Islam? Which one is deeper? To say arif Allahu or alim Allahu? Alim Allah. Do I say Allahu arif or Allah alim? Alim. Okay? Actually, it would be blasphemy if I say عرف الله أنكم كنتم تختمون أنفسكم, for example. I have to say علم الله والله يعلم وأنتم لا تعلمون. Allah knows and you do not know. I will say والله يعرف وأنتم لا تعرفون. Doesn't. Because the ilm comes at a higher level over here. And ilm is always associated with the ulama. إنما يخشى الله من عباده العلماء, the scholars, the big scientists are the ones who fear Allah the most. So I want here to make that distinction between ilm and knowledge. And when ma'rifah or knowledge is based on deep understanding, it turns into knowledge, into ilm. So you really want to transfer the knowledge, mere knowledge, by understanding it very well, it turns into ilm. I call the ilm authentic knowledge. Authentic knowledge or deep knowledge. You really want to have this to happen. And now the authentic knowledge or deep knowledge or ilm could be one of these three categories. Could be knowledge that harms. Where did I get this from? From Surah Al-Baqarah. Allah said, وَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنْفَعُهُمْ. About ملكين ببابل وهاروت وما يعلمان من أحد حتى يقول إنما نحن فتنة فلا تكفر. The story about the two angels in Babel, Harut and Marut, and they were teaching people magic and so that they were ordered to do that. And then Allah said, وَيَتَعَلَّمُونَ مَا يَضُرُّهُمْ وَلَا يَنْفَعُهُم. They learn what harms them and will benefit them. So we know then that what you learn could be harmful, could be beneficial. So you have harmful knowledge and you have beneficial knowledge that benefits. Which one we want, the red or the green? Green. So for a Muslim, for example, give me a knowledge that hurts or harms people. Sihr, magic, like Allah khair. So sihr is not something, that's what the verse was talking about. You don't want that to happen. Or say research about how to stop death. Allah said, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. Yeah, so you don't waste your time in things that Allah already told you. Every soul is going to die. So you spend billions and billions of dollars to stop people from dying. Maybe improve their health is good, but dying is in the hands of Allah. So it's things like that. You want to make sure that all what the knowledge that you gain, like Dhul Qarnayn, like Yusuf, to benefit people. And there is knowledge that neither benefit nor harm. An example? Knowledge that doesn't benefit, doesn't harm. Sports may benefit sometimes, right? Yeah. You get lots of games, right? Some of the games I sit in the plane and I see here, there's a man that looks very wise sitting next to me. and then that man gets an iPad and then plays a game. Okay? Killing time. Game doesn't teach anything except how you kill time. It doesn't benefit anyone. Okay, so that's an example. And kids in the area, tons of things. They flooded the market with things that doesn't, in many cases, or in some cases, doesn't benefit. So you really, as Muslims, we want to focus on knowledge that benefits. Yes.
Let's propose an idea.
Yes.
No knowledge is harmful, in my opinion.
Look at it.
But again, the way I look at it is that it's the application of knowledge.
Yes.
It's the action itself that is harmful or beneficial. For example, sihr. It's not the knowledge of sihr in itself. If you were to come across it, or you were to learn it, or you weren't intending to, but you came across it.
Yes.
That is harmful. Maybe you can use the knowledge to prevent sihr. Maybe you can use the knowledge to educate people to not do sihr.
Very good approach.
You can help other people who have been implicated by sihr but same thing with anything else. I mean, you take nuclear weapons, you take anything else. You can use the knowledge to prevent things, to help people. Knowledge of internet, you can use it to help people as opposed to
I think it's a very
itself is never harmful. Whether
knowledge is neutral, and then another. Yeah.
Even if it's knowledge of something that could be very harmful, something very bad. Now, to strive or to take actions to learn intentionally knowledge that is harmful, that can lead to harm with the intentions of committing harm, that action of learning it may be harmful. Like, for example, if you're learning sihr to harm people, then acquiring that knowledge may be harmful because the actions are preceded as well.
Yes.
But having the knowledge.
Yes, I think I like that modification, and I really admire what you said, and it makes full sense. There's definitely the use of the knowledge is what benefits and harms. How do I use this knowledge is what you're alluding to.
You can take knowledge very good or looks very good. Like, for example, being a doctor.
Yes.
You can have that knowledge and you can really use it to harm people.
Yes.
Because you're intelligent, you can motivate people in how they behave.
Yes.
Or you can use that, so even good knowledge, the green
is
usually used to benefit people, could turn into significant harm if
Definitely.
used improperly. So it's the actions that
so how you translate that knowledge. Very, very good. Jazakallah khair. I think that's very beneficial. And that's where we learn collaboratively. We learn from one another from discussion like this. May Allah reward you. That's a very good point. Yes. I'm going to come closer because I have a mic in my pocket, so it helps illustrate the point. Yes.
I second his point, because kids nowadays,
Yes.
I can see what he's saying, because my son will come up with an argument.
Yes.
But it's not really wrong to know this.
Yes.
What's the harm in it, Mom?
Exactly. That's a very good point. Okay, let's continue here. So from a Quranic perspective then, I should learn things that benefit, or take the knowledge and translate it into something that benefit the people. So we learn here that I want the knowledge to benefit, and that benefit should have an impact on my body and on my heart. Okay? On my body, practice. Like when Allah said, we're not going to make equal those who know and those who do not know. قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. The first half of this verse says, the person who's standing at night making qiyam, ruku, sujood, is not the same as the person who doesn't. أَمَّنْ هُوَ قَانِتٌ آنَاءَ اللَّيْلِ سَاجِدًا وَقَائِمًا يَحْذَرُ الْآخِرَةَ وَيَرْجُو رَحْمَةَ رَبِّهِ قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. So I want at the end, whatever I learn should impact my connection with Allah, and appreciating Allah's ni'am around me more, and so on. So I want it to affect my iman, I want it to affect my sujood and ruku and so on. That's very important model that we have over here. And then I want that to be done sincerely and with taqwa. And that the combination of doing this sincerely and with taqwa is tarbiyah. So I want my tarbiyah to be based on knowledge, and that knowledge should really be good knowledge that benefit me as Dhul Qarnayn, as Yusuf alayhi salam, and should affect my iman and my practice at the end. That is ultimately what I want to do. So I want to teach my children things that benefit them, and I want to teach them sincerity and taqwa, and I want them to have the knowledge to have an impact on their iman and their practice. And from that perspective, you can read some of the verses in the Quran where Allah talked about those who were fighting Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, standing against him blindly and so on. Look into what the Quran said about them. Allah said, we have, many of the jinn have made for help, men and women and all the people. They have, talking about the people, the enemies of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam who were opposing. They have hearts that do not understand, meaning minds that don't understand. They have eyes that do not see. They have ears that do not hear. These are like animals or even humans. And the question here, were those people blind? Were they physically blind? No. Were they physically deaf? No. Were they physically unable to think? No. But Allah said here, they have eyes, they're blind, they're deaf. You see? Why? Because they're not seeing the model that we presented here. They're doing things in an opposite way. So the real vision now is to do the things according to the model that we presented earlier. If not, then you're blind. And as Allah said, فَإِنَّهَا لَا تَعْمَى الْأَبْصَارُ وَلَكِنْ تَعْمَى الْقُلُوبُ الَّتِي فِي الصُّدُورِ. The vision is not blind. What's blind is the hearts and the chest of the people. So we say, عَمَى الْبَصِيرَ وَلَيْسَ عَمَى الْبَصَرِ. بَصَرْ بَصِيرًا. The blindness is the blindness of the basira. Basira meaning the ability to see things with a vision. Not the blindness of the eye. Basira, basar meaning eyes. Basira meaning vision, to see things. Okay? So that's a very important statement to make over here. And that's where you understand verses in the Quran like this verse. Okay. I'm going to move to something else, but before I move to something else, I want you to ask questions or make comments or engage in a dialogue with us. You had some comments, you had some questions. So let's entertain some of these now before we go to something else. And I'm going to come close to you when you talk about record it. Yes. Yes.
And what I realized, they don't want any communication with the parents. Nothing. They don't want to talk. We helped them a lot when they were young, but they get to some points, no more. We don't need you. Only maybe they remember us when they need dua.
Yes.
At this time, you're gonna find text message. You're gonna find nice words, a little bit kiss on the morning.
Yeah.
Okay, but otherwise, no communication. There is nothing between, Maybe they have football, they have playing with their friends, gathering with their friends.
Yeah.
But nothing with the parents.
The comment is regarding this important comment. The comment is we kind of deal with our children. When they are young, they are very attached to us. But once they are like 12, 13, 14, they start to live in their own world, and unless they need something from us, they won't come to us. You see? Especially when they are teenagers and above, and 18, 19, and then they start to forget. And subhanAllah, that's natural. And in general, people have this tendency. When we are children, when you look at a child, little child, the innate nature is in control. The self needs are in control. So a child later learns to balance between the social needs and the world around the child and his own or her own needs. But at the beginning, my needs come first. And hence, among the very early words the child learns, and unfortunately we help them learn that word, it's mine. Okay? Fights. You see a good toy in somebody's hands? No, that's mine. So what do? You buy exactly copies. 2 toys for a brother and a sister. They're exactly the same. They hold it. No, that's the other one. I want the other one. Why? Because again, that is a human nature, that you want everything is centered around the self, around myself, around my needs. But subhanAllah, you come here, the things that we're talking about, you teach. And that's the difference between an animal and a human. The human learns to live with others and interact with others and learn the Islamic principles and learn the teachings of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That's a gradual process. Tarbiyah is very gradual, incremental, little by little. Okay? That comes when the child grows. But once we grow beyond a certain, age, we go back to independence. Especially the age of puberty. The child in fifth and sixth grade, it's very critical age, like 11, 12. Because the child is moving to an independent stage. And the father and the mother gotta know that. That's part of the growth, the natural growth. When you come to fifth grade, Yahya is now in sixth grade. Fifth, sixth grade, it's a very critical age for the children. How old is Yahya now? 12. So that age of 11 to 13 is a very critical age. They learn, I want to be independent. And that's why you will see a lot of resistance from them at this age. Once they pass that age, comes, like 17, 18, comes another stage where they pass this stage, but they get into a stage of more independence. But they kind of pass this stage. I want my driver's license. You see, the day I get my driver's license, history in my life. That's a historical moment in my life when I get my driver's license. Later they learn, no. Okay, as we will come to that, I have a curve for you. You will see lots of changes happen at this age. So it all depends on what I do when they're still young. Okay? And that's what inshallah I'm going to emphasize in the next part, Tarbiyah Quranic tools. We'll learn a few tools here to keep the children connected. I never had this feeling towards my mother and my father. Okay? That I don't need them, or I don't show interest or this in them. What made the difference with me? Very key question, and I will explain that. There are some very much attached to their parents. Some, they're waiting for the minute. They'll be away from their parents. What makes the difference? That's what we're going to see in the Quran. That's what we really want to learn from the Quran. And it all boils down to love and care for your child. And I will explain it when we come to the verse. The more you shower your child with love and care, the more they'll become attached to you. And the more they'll appreciate you. And the more they'll come because they need you. There is a difference between physical giving and spiritual giving. I can give them cars, money, all the things. These things fade away. What stays and have a big impact is the spiritual things that nobody else is going to give me except my parents. And that's where the love and care comes in. Nobody else is going to love you more than your parents. Nobody else in the world is going to care and love you more than your parents do. And that stays. If that relationship is strengthened, the child will always come to you, will always stay in touch with you. Again, how do we do this? And inshallah, we can see some of the verses that we have here, but keep that in mind. It's a good count. Okay, anything else, please? Yes.
One question and one comment.
Yes.
Talk about love.
Yes.
I'm laughing.
Yeah, it's okay.
We talk about love, and as we all know, whoever is a parent, that there are times
where you need to put your foot down as far as discipline. So how you reconcile that unconditional love that the child will feel, okay, well, this is it. I mean, you know, the love that my parents have for me is totally unconditional. Yet, when it's time to put your foot down and show that discipline, how do you reconcile that in the light of Quran and Sunnah? And second comment that I have is, I'm just going to share my personal experience in 2 seconds. What I see and what I feel is, as parents, we are the biggest heroes of our children. So we have to walk the walk.
Yes.
And rather walk the talk, rather. When I see myself and when I see myself as a father, the first figure that comes to my mind that I want to emulate is my dad. And because he showed us what it should be like when it comes to like caring, spirituality, and a perfect balance between the temporal needs of a child as well as the spiritual needs of a child.
Definitely.
So the bottom line is that we need to consider that whatever we tell our children, it's going to have less effect than what they see us doing.
Yes.
Because I remember a lot of times we used to have these lectures and whatnot. I think being a teenager, okay, oh man, it's still just wastage of time and whatnot. But 90% of that is still ingrained in me, regardless of what I thought or felt at that time.
Yeah.
It is still sunk in.
Definitely.
And that comes out in what I tell my son a little bit. That's that training that is coming.
Yes.
So that's all I had to say.
Jazakallah khair. I think for the discipline, I would inshallah talk about that next week, because that's part of our next week plan. But in general, now temporarily, let me say that discipline is a very important tool. There is what we call punishments and consequences, and there is consequences and logical consequences. So I wanna use the term logical consequences. They're gonna learn that there are consequences for every wrong action that you do. Like the example of the tree. If I don't correct the tree now, it's gonna stay crooked the rest of the life of the tree. So I want really to make sure that I correct things, keeping in mind logical consequences. A child is coming and using the pen to draw on the wall. So I said, I'm sorry, I'm going to take that pencil from you until you learn how to use it. There are two ways. I can hit the child, say, don't ever do that. Or I can take it and say, I'm sorry, you don't know how to use it, so I'm going to teach you first, and until you learn how to use it, you're not going to get it back. So I use logical consequences to discipline my child, and the children are smart. They'll understand what you're doing. But if you come and punish somebody physically or whatever, it's going to be a problem. I remember in the school environment, I come to a child did something wrong. One of them acts in a very strong way. Comes in, I'm sorry. The other one, and this is real, I'm talking to you about real things that happen. I come close to the child like that, and then the first immediate reaction of the child is just like that. It teaches you a lot about what's happening at home with that child. He learned to defend himself by taking a defensive position of being hit. And the other one is not. Acting and admitting the mistake or making promises to correct it, things like that. So it all depends. Inshallah, we'll deal with that in more details, inshallah, next week. And thank you for the comment. Yes, sir. No, it's okay. We want everybody to know. So,
One of the comments I wanted to make was about knowledge and ilm. Once again, I look at it, the conversion of knowledge to ilm is like, again, I'll give you a medical example.
Sure.
Knowledge would be to know how medication works.
Okay.
So you know how the medication works, how the pathophysiology is, but ilm is to be able to apply that medication to the right diagnosis. The problem is, what I've seen with bringing up kids, and myself, I'm guilty of this. We never understand where the child is coming from. We're trying to give them our thoughts or telling them, listen, do this. Like even when we're disciplining, you take the pen from them and say, why did he take the pen in the first place?
Yeah.
Is my question. And I think, like the sister commented, that the kids would come up to us and say, things like, what's wrong with knowing this? Or now we're facing with the way Muslim communities are situated right now and the issues that we're having, especially in America, kids will come and ask challenging questions.
Yes.
I mean, kids can come up to you and say, Mom, I don't want to be, or Dad, I don't want to be a Muslim. Because you know what? The kid at school told me that Muslims are terrorists. Now, how do you respond to that? I think the way I look at this is these are moments of opportunity. When they make a mistake, when they take that pen away, when they make a comment like this is a moment of opportunity. But what happens is, more often than not, what I do, or what most of us do, no, Islam is a beautiful religion. We're Muslims. What are you talking about? You're a Muslim. If you're not going to get that pen. I'm like, okay, I'm a Muslim. But what happened was, you never solved that psychological issue that the kid has. Not because of not being able to do it, but because of our own resistance of dealing with a very difficult subject and our own resistance. I will just make one more comment.
Sure.
Okay.
It's very good comment, inshallah.
There's something called a psychological contract. Now, this is a concept that we use in business. It exists with every single contract that we come in place with. So right now, the Imam is giving a lecture, the doctor is giving a lecture, I'm sitting over here. There's a psychological contract. He does not want me to hijack this meeting. But when you go to school, there's a psychological contract. The teacher, you expect certain things from them, and they expect certain things from you. Similarly, whether you like it or not, you have a psychological contract with your kids. It develops automatically. This has been studied. Humans have it. Every single person has it. What happens is there's also a psychological contract for every topic, or every situation, or every incident that happens. So, for example, the kid comes to your home and says, takes the pen or brings something from school that he's not supposed to, or makes a comment like, am I a terrorist because I'm a Muslim? Things like that. He has a psychological contract. He's coming from a certain direction. And unless you understand where he's coming from, there's no way you can help him grow. Now, the problem is every single person has a different thought process behind what they're saying. So you may have two kids, and both of them may make the same comment, and the solution to both of the problems may be totally different. So my suggestion to myself and to everybody is, always ask your children when they make a comment, why did you do this? And then just be quiet and listen them out. Because you will be surprised that the problem that you may think it is may be totally different. We can never give them the way we think. We cannot give them that, think like this. But we can guide their thoughts, and the only way we can guide their thoughts if we understand their psychology and where they're coming from, even when we're disciplining them or trying to correct them to guide them in a certain fashion.
Great. Jazakallah khair. May I have your name?
My name is Atik.
Atik. What do you do?
I'm a doctor.
A doctor. So apparently we learn it.
And I have a lot of
background. Good, alhamdulillah, great. So we're learning, alhamdulillah. That's very good. So please feel free. Any time you can add and contribute to that, that would be very helpful. We believe in collaborative learning, and alhamdulillah, that's very, very helpful. Yes. Yes, let me just make a comment. I think we also use the term social contracts in a school environment, which is very much related to the concept that the doctor mentioned to us. So that is, inshallah, we'll talk about that in more details, and inshallah we'll elaborate on these concepts in more details next week, inshallah. Any more comment or questions? Yes, please. Yeah.
A lot of people, they discipline in a physical matter all the time. Yes. Don't do it at all. And you see both extremes. When is it permissible or appropriate to discipline your child in a physical matter? Because to some level of extent, I believe that sometimes that is required, especially since you see two extremes a lot.
Yes.
So I guess I'm saying, where can you use that? I mean, when is it permissible for you to actually discipline your child in a physical matter?
Very good. Very
I'm
good.
not saying beat the child, but
Okay.
at the same time.
Yes. I think it's from an, and if you ask me personally, I follow the example of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is what I personally believe. And the example that he set for us, he never believed. That's his personal, doing. That's what he followed himself. Never. Somebody or discipline somebody by hitting somebody, or physically hitting somebody, or pushing somebody. That's what he did. To servants, to people that he raised, to his own children. And that's what I adopt as an educator, especially here in the East. You read in the Christian discipline things. You read even what kind of rope you use to tie a child, and all these sort of things. You find them in the books of discipline and religious discipline, including Muslims and Christians and other religions as well. Now, the Prophet ﷺ allowed discipline your child. I said, وَضْرِبُوهُمْ عَلَيْهَا الْعَشْرِ, for example, when they reach 10 for the salat, you may use that. But remember, the term, وَضْرِبُوهُمْ is a very very loose term. And unfortunately, people go to extreme in that. If you take in Surah Sad, when Allah said to Ayyub, فَخُذْ ضِغْفًا فَضْرِبْ بِهِ وَلَا تَحْنَثْ. Take a group of, when he was sick, and he got Allah said to him, take some of these plants and just hit on that part so that you get cured. So he took it and did that. That is called daraba, or hit. You see? But it's actually not hitting. It's just, symbolically doing that to cure himself. Allah wants you to put the effort. Allah doesn't want miracles to happen to you without using your own effort. Maryam Allah wants her to help her, says, "Huzzi ilayki bijid'in nakhla." Shake the tree, trunk of the tree. Even the trunk is there. You can't shake the trunk, you can shake the top. But Allah says, shake the trunk. And she takes the effort, and Allah brings the result. So in Islam, there is always the effort should be there. So when we say, when Allah ordered Ayyub to go and hit, was to put the effort. So that's where some of the scholars said, when you hit, for example, hit with a miswak. Miswak, is like a toothbrush. Do that. Or push like that with gentle and nice. So that's what I would understand. But taken to the extreme of physically hitting and spanking and all these sort of things, personally, I do not really believe in all of that. One of the things that, and this is going to be part of the Tarbiyah Quranic tools, I think when I was referring to my parents, I never in my life, my parents hit me. Never. I still remember it, and still one of the main factors that I'm proud of. I look into the history, that's one of the great things my parents did for me. See? Stays with me until I die. That is a great honor for me. Can all our children have the honor? And the answer is yes. Are they going to remember it positively as I'm remembering it? Definitely yes. Is it going to have an impact on their personality? Definitely yes. I remember I go back to my life, personal life. What really affected my personality and turned me into a person who doesn't, alhamdulillah, I don't panic, I don't, get angry, I don't get mad, I always calm like that. This doesn't mean I don't get mad, but and compared to the average person, I don't get mad that easily. It's the love and care that my parents did for me. I look at my mother, every time I go to her, she kisses all my 10 fingers. Every time I go, that's this, hugs. Definitely that is going to lead to you to be at peace. You feel, secured. You feel you are always there. People are there to help you, support you love and care is always there, strengthen you. Versus always scared, always afraid. You see? Which one is going to have a stronger personality? The one who's showered with love and care and never hit, or the one who's hit and always the whip is there? Definitely the one who has that love and care is going to be much stronger. Much stronger. And you really want to follow that. You want to have a strong child, strong personality. And we'll talk about that shortly, inshallah. I'll come to it shortly. But that's a very, very important point. You want to have a follow-up? Okay. Sure.
An incident has been narrated that Prophet Muhammad, when he was 2 years, when he was born, he was sent in the countryside for upbringing.
Very good.
Right?
Yes.
And Halima Sadiya, she came back to his mother when he was 2, probably, if I'm not wrong.
Where he was?
When he was 2 years old.
Yes.
And then, again, I would say that probably he was sent with Halima Sadiya again, because somebody said that probably the environment in Makkah at the moment is not very good for the children. Is that right? Probably in fact,
not really.
I don't know how you
Yeah.
what do you put it. But my question is, I mean, if he was sent back again up, and then probably he returned up when he was 3 or 3.5. How do you explain this situation with regard to Tarbiyah? Question number 1. And question 2 is, and I recently read about Shakul Sadr.
Yes.
Can you explain something about it?
Okay. Well, the issue of taking the Prophet into, say, the desert, that's a very important step in Tarbiyah. And I'll come to it here. If you examine the Quran, basically, you go to Maryam, is a child, goes there, stays بربوة ذات قرار ومعين, as the Quran stated, I think it's Surah Taha. There, Maryam and her son is taken into isolation, some place where they're isolated. She goes to Al-Mihrab, stays there. You see, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ goes to Ghar Hira before Islam, and there he stays for a month. That has a big impact on the child. When you sit away from the noise, when you sit away from the life, the regular life, and you go and sit in a place that has nothing between you and the nature around you, purifies you. But when you live in a constant struggle, games, TV, streets, cars, this, see, affects you. See, you need a break, a spiritual break, away from all this noise, back to nature, purifies your heart. And that's what they were doing with the children in Mecca. They would take them the desert where they are with the environment. And that adds another element that we will talk about the Quranic Tarbiyah tools, which is the element of toughness. Toughness is very important. Softness is good sometimes, but it hurts more than it benefits if it's not balanced with toughness. And I'll come to that. I'll explain it more when we deal with that. You touch on a very important Tarbiyah tool, and I'll delay the rest of the answer to the next topic, inshallah. Yeah, Jazakallah khair. Any comments? I will do that, inshallah, later.
Just a quick announcement. Don't worry, but we're looking for the parents of Uthman, Sheikh, and Mahin. Okay, so there's the parents. Secondly, we're going to have, we've arranged for lunch, inshallah. It'll be here around 1:30, and I think by the time we finish this next section, it'll be around lunchtime. I believe it's, how much is it? How much is lunch? $8. $8, okay, and that includes Includes a drink. Okay, so that includes a drink. And then we'll take Zohar break right after that. Inshallah, try and get back in so we can try and finish as early as possible.
Okay.
All right. Jazakumullah khair.
Say something about most kids when problems kids and parents. The main problem I've seen, my kids are not teen yet, but I've seen from other family members or other family that are around me. When the trust is broken between parents and children, that's when the children start tending to go away from their parents and stop listening to their parents. The more they trust, the more they listen, and when they listen, they most likely follow what their parents are saying. I've seen, from my experience, my kids are like 8 and 6, and even 8 years old. Every time he's doing something bad, I try to talk to him, and it amazes me how much he listens, versus when I get angry with him and try to correct him by force, kind of being a little bit tough with him. And every time I try to be tough, he challenges me. And every time I talk to him, he goes the way I want him to go. So every child is different anyway. But what I'm trying to say that trust is basically the thing that will probably bring kids in, and vice versa, I think.
Jazakallah khair. It's very, very good point. And I think we'll talk about trust also coming to us here. We'll see it. That's a very important tarbiyah tool that we should remember. I will take, inshallah,